Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the next installment, the next episode of the Ultimate Track Guide series, and today, I never thought this day would come where we're at Monza. We're at Monza, guys, and I must make a big announcement, a really special thanks to Leo Hovnen, who's helped me out with this track guide, for doing the driving, because, well, let's be honest, he's just better than I am, especially around here. So big thanks to Leo. I'm sure you've heard him on the streams. But let's dive into the lap. This is around hot lap, just scraping into the 46s, low 47s. It's a really good lap. Let's go and look at the hints and tips. If you're not in the Discord, links in below. Let's dive in. So coming down the main straight, then you've got loads of time to think about where your braking point is, and we're looking for the bores on the left hand side. 300, 200, 150 is our marker. This is pretty much your general marker. Even if you're on high fuel, it's slightly before, but especially for a hot lap, it's right on this 150 marker. You can actually go slightly from the right hand side of the track, not the right hand side of the track, but slightly more right than this, almost in the middle of the track, and sort of edge yourself left as you're under braking, as there's a little bit of runoff, a little bit of astro before the turn, as we can see here on the left hand side. Just turn in a little bit early, just to get the car starting to rotate. And here's the crucial thing. Look how Leo's holding onto the brake, just coming into this corner, just a tiny little bit, and then he'll jab the throttle. So that little nip gets the back end of the car round, and then immediately onto the opposite lock. And it's quite a harsh lock. We talk a lot about the time about how you potentially are overturning on some of the faster corners, but here on the slow ones you can afford to have a lot of lock. A little tiny jab of the brakes, again you can see that's what, 25%, if 20%, if that, and immediately be round and straight on the power. Get the back end of the car rotated round so you can straighten up, and then it's just a clean blast through the Curva Grande and into the second chicane. And at this point you've either got the draft, not got the draft, and we're looking for the barrier on the right hand side as a braking point. And there's 200 meter board, 150 meter board, and then there's this little orange bit at the end of the barrier. That's going to be our braking marker. If you brake at the sign after it, you're too late. You're going to go straight on. It's just not going to happen for you. And again, you can come in from the middle of the track over to the right hand side, but both me and Leo prefer this wide line. And interestingly, down from, you think most of the braking's done now, right, and we'll stay in second gear, we're ready to sort of get our way through the corner, but no, Leo's got a great technique here where he drops down into first gear just to get that extra little bit of rotation, and then straight back up to second gear as we come into this very, very short acceleration zone. Again, similar thing, jab the throttle, get the back end of the car round, but the crucial difference is that the minimum throttle that he goes down to in between these two corners in the middle of the chicane is this sort of 65-70%. So you're keeping that momentum, keeping the throttle on, but you're keeping the back end of the car rotated round. Avoid the curb on the inside at all costs. You can go on the curb on the outside, but it's not really advised because it's quite bumpy, and if you get into the habit of that, then you're going to start sort of getting yourself into danger zone. So first corners, look at it from above, then you've got a 150 meter board. If you brake after that, you're starting to get into danger zone unless you really, really, really nail the braking, but it's 100% most of the way. Little jab of throttle, there's that braking where he just gets the weight on the nose of the car. It's rotated slightly and then straight back on the throttle. You watch how quickly it gets on the throttle here. It's just a quick build and then up into 100%, and away we go into the second chicane. Keep it nice and tight here. It's not too it doesn't matter too much what line you take through the Curva Grande, but tight is better. So looking for that orange barrier on the right hand side, and again dropping down into first gear. As soon as we get to the corner though, we're back up into second. So come off the brakes nicely, shift early into second, a little bit of a lift, just let the car recover, and then straight back on. So look at it again just from the onboard view in real time. So looking for the 150 meter board, bam, we brake. Nice and early on the turn, get the car rotated, little jab of throttle, flick your wrist over to the opposite side of the car to get that full lock on, and immediately there's a sharp turn back to the centre to neutral steering. We talk about it quite a lot. If you're on full power, you should be getting to neutral steering, okay? So just bear that in mind when you're coming out of these slower chicanes. Same for this second one again. Braking at the orange marker, through the gears, into first, get the rotation, flick up to second. Make sure you stay on the power slightly to keep that momentum and the aero and everything working well. And we're immediately faced with the Lesmos, okay? And I personally think that after the second chicane, this first Lesmo is one of the most difficult corners on the track. Again, the only reference I can really give you is you're going to be braking before the orange marker on the right-hand side, okay? You can see Leo's already starting to turn in slightly just to get the front of the car in, and it's a very short braking point, okay? You saw how that barely paused it there, and was straight back on the power and using more. It's the first time I'm going to do it, guys, pausing on the outside of the corner. More track than you think you can use on the exit, okay? We'll go through that again because I realise it's very short. Again, looking for the 50-metre board on the left-hand side, and it's just a quick jab of the throttle, and there's a really, really crucial element, which I'm not sure Leo even knows that he does here. I'm going to ask him about it, but there's a really nice sort of gutter shape bit at the beginning of the curb here. I'm going to try and highlight it for you. Just this little section in between the white line and the bottom of the curb, and if you get the front of the car in that, just hooks it round, and you're able to put on the power so early through there, and again pausing it on the outside using all of the track and a little bit more. So watch it again in full time. So you reckon before that orange marker, get the nose in nice and early, little bit of a trail brake but not much, but the crucial thing's on the power early, get the back of the car rotated round, which shouldn't be too much of a problem because obviously we're running a lot less aero, and by the way, if you are after the setup, then I'll put it in the description on Set Space. There's a whole McLaren pack up there, as you guys know we're seeing a lot. There's that rotation and early on the power, looking for the 50-metre board on the left-hand side. Now we brake, just a quick dab down into second. Again, get the power on, a lot of power straight away, and then you can ease off a little bit if you get a bit nervous, but it's really crucial to keep the power on there as much as you can. So coming into Ascari, again, super difficult, full of difficult corners, and we're looking for this orange marker on the right-hand side. It's almost like they put the Marshall posts and designed them with a GT3 driver who said, look guys, I want this Marshall to stand here because I want to look at him every time I want to brake. Okay, so we're looking at the Marshall post, we're looking at that orange sign, through the gears, down into third. You can go into second, but I wouldn't advise it. And look how much curb Leo takes on the inside here, okay? A lot of people drive round the curbing here. He's on that throttle already, just keeping the aero nice and stable, keeping the back end of the car just rotating as he needs, because we're going to have to get over slightly to the left-hand side, or rather get back to the middle of the track as we start to turn right. And again, think back to the previous corner. You've got this, I highlight it in blue this time, you've got this lovely gutter which you need to get the front right tyre in, okay, and that's going to pull you round. Do not go on the black and yellow sausage curbs on the inside here because you will be in a world of pain. I cannot highlight enough, but you can go on that one. So don't do it on the right hand side of the track. If your car's set up well for Monza and you've got a little bit of compliancy in the setup, then you can go and cut that curbing on the left hand side, which is going to make your life a lot easier. Now, a lot of people here and ask me, where do you brake for the final corner? I go, it's a big sign there. But actually, you don't brake there. It's the 100-metre board just after it. So you've got a nice big reference, sort of guide your way, and then you're pinpointing that down into the 100-metre board here, and it's a nice sharp braking, coming off the brakes nice and early. And again, look how early Leo's on the power here. It actually gets a little bit of oversteer which he has to turn into, and what that enables him actually to do is stay really tight here, but you can go a little bit wider all the way out to the Astro. But I'd advise again of getting into that habit too much, because if you do go wide, there's a horrible curb to get yourself stuck in to the gravel on, so to bear that in mind. Okay, so coming up to Ascari again, looking for that Marshall post on the right hand side. You can take a lot of curb. I'm going to pause it here. Look, he's barely on the track really. Over to the middle a little bit, but you're just hugging that right hand curb as much as you can, and then cut the left hander over. So you've just got one wheel on the left hand curb, and then you pause it on the exit. You can use a lot more than you think you can there without getting penalty. Going back to that cut, you can cut it. Do not cut it to the point where your middle of your car is going over the sausage curb, because you will fly into space, hit the wall on the right hand side. Again, there's that little bit of drift oversteer, just Leo just turns into it. Actually, we're able to stay nice and tight, and there's that curb on the left hand side that you need to avoid, the yellow one just before the red and white one. So let's look at that final section again, just in full speed, looking for the barrier on the right hand side, taking a lot of curb on the inside, looking for the gutter on the right hand side through the right hander to get that front wheel stuck into. Nice and key, just to be nice and stable on the power, and then flick that. I don't know if you saw that there, Leo just came back off the power there, went through the right hander and 50%, and then back onto full power as he started to accelerate out, and then clip that curb on the left hand side. Really nicely done. 100-metre border just after. There's that oversteer, which just turns into nicely there, and that allows us just to get a nice smooth exit onto the start-finish straight, which, as you know, crucial for overtaking. Not a lot of wing here. We're going to be doing silly speeds over 170 miles an hour by the time we get to the first corner. So the whole lap, what do we make of it? 47.0 is pretty decent, top tier driving, but we've got a lot of time to think about where we're going to brake for this first corner. 300, 200, 150 borders where we want it. Using this Astra on the left hand side as a bit of a guide to turn in, jab the power, get the steering as straight as possible. You see that movement, it's a conscious movement back to neutral steering coming out of the chicane, because you're on full power. You want the car as straight as possible so you can put all of the grip in a straight line rather than mucking about with steering. Okay, it's just scrubbing speed unnecessarily. Barrier again, the orange barrier on the right hand side, down into first gear. Power on, keep the momentum. It's just a little lift, it's not a full lift, it's a half lift, and we're faced with the Lesmo straight away. Lesmo 1, get the nose in early, braking before that orange post on the right hand side. A lot of power early on, get the back end rotated again, use more curb than you're thinking again. 50 metre, get in that gutter, power on nice and early. Doesn't matter if you get a bit of oversteer there, you can correct it. There's a lot of grip on that Astro on the outside as we go through what is officially a corner, but it's not really, underneath the bridge, up the hill towards Ascari. Again, looking for the orange marker on the right hand side, braking down third gear. See if you can spot that gutter to hook your front wheel into. Be a little bit tentative on the power if you need to be, and clip back curbing on the left hand side. Do not get your car over all of that curbing. Do not go over the curb with the middle of your car, because you will fly. Please don't do that. It's the biggest tip I can get. Ascari is super difficult. Last corner then, slightly after the 100 metre board. If you get a bit of oversteer, if the back end's a bit loose, which it probably should be if you're on a sort of quali setup like this is, and just steer into it like Leo does fantastically there, and away we go for another lap. Guys, I'm going to leave you with the overhead because I know a lot of you like this. I've got I'll put the link to the setup in the description below. With that setup, you're going to get the RST and the Motec data for this. There's a quali hot lap setup, which is the one we're using right now, and there's also a race setup, which is got 100 litres on board for those longer sort of Monza endurances, which I know you guys all know and love. I don't know why. I hate the place. Big thanks to Leo for driving this lap and getting me the footage. Massive help, because otherwise we would probably never have this track guide without him. So guys, big up Leo in the comments if you can. If you're not subbed to the channel already, get involved. There's a Discord link below as well. We've got a nice little community building with Sean Arnold there as well. Me and him sort of run that little community. Loads of racing, loads of setup chat, loads of telemetry work. So get involved. And guys, I will see you on the next one. Sorry it's been a little while since I posted. Been super busy, but I will see you on the next one. Bye.